So, welcome to another episode of the VIA VHS podcast, your virtual video store. Each week, if you join us, we go back and look at a movie from the 80s or 90s, late 70s, early 2000s, from the VHS era. And we decide if we still like it, if it still holds up, just what we think about it. And this week's featured rental is a doozy, an infamous film, an infamous adaptation, and one of Spencer's favorite films. We're looking back at the 1993 Super Mario Brothers movie. That's this week's featured rental. And this one's you're almost synonymous with this one, honestly. Oh, wait, hold on. I gotta do the thing too. We both have the VHS.
We both have the VHS, but do you have the extremely expensive 4K
No,
Blu-ray set?
no, I do not. I don't think I own one 4K piece of physical media.
I own like 10. It's not that many of them, to tell you the truth, But when they made Mario Brothers, it was like I had to get that.
What is in that thing? What is in that thing?
So you get 3 DVDs or three discs, 4K, a Blu-ray disc, and then they have one that has like the kind of the extended rough cut version. It's a little bit different than the one we watched on a podcast back. It's got a book that has all the scripts in there. So it's got two
Oh,
or three of
wow.
the scripts in there, which is badass. You can read it that way. And then it's got a full on making of art book / yada, yada, yada. And then a whole other bunch of bells and whistles.
Wow.
They literally went out of their way. That company, Umbrella from Australia, really makes like some good stuff. If you're looking for some physical media, they definitely deliver.
I mean, that big ass thing. Holy cow. I
Yeah,
mean,
it felt like it was well worth it for, everything in it. I didn't feel like I got skimped at all.
yeah. Well, we're definitely riding the SEO wave this week because, Mario Brothers Galaxy movie
Yeah.
is out. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, it's called the Super Mario Galaxy movie.
Yeah, that's out. So we thought we would go back and look at the 1993 one, and you've definitely looked at this several times.
Yeah, I like to be the person who has more podcasts on the Super Mario Brothers 1993 movie than anybody else out there. I've done at least over 10 of them. I want to say it's like 13 or 14.
You're in
And
the league,
I kid
sure.
you not, it's one of those movies. It's literally in my top 10 favorite movies of all time list, and that is not ironic. That is totally truthful. This is one of those ones I can throw it on. I'm always having a good time. Literally just watching again right now. I go back to it and I go, I think this movie's fantastic. I love the living daylights out of it. To me, it's excellent. I know it's not everybody's cup of tea, but I love this movie so much.
The fans of this movie are hardcore.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of people panned it, a lot of people hate it, but the people who love it really love it. And one thing I noticed, Super Mario Brothers Archives, I think is
Yeah.
the people who look back at the movies. Because you've talked to them before, right?
Yeah, because I did a podcast with both those guys back in the day, and they're real nice guys and so on like that. I did feel like me and Ryan liked the movie even more than they did. Because that was the one thing we sort of got from it. It's like, well, they just kind of took this on like kind of like an interesting project kind of thing, where it felt like we were like the guys like, dude, we love Mario Brothers, 1993. Shit, I went to the 25th anniversary screening that they had in Oakland for it, and it was a party.
Damn. Yeah, I mean, those guys have done it's a great resource, Super Mario Brothers Archives. But one thing I noticed about it is that when I was looking at the, IMDb reviews and like the trivia and stuff like that, they're referenced. And you don't see there's other groups like that. There's other people who have done projects on movies and stuff, but you don't usually see them referenced in the trivia like they are. So like this is a dedicated site for a dedicated fan base. A lot of people love the shit out of this movie.
Yeah, and dude, even on that 4K version, they're actually on a bunch of the special features on there and so on like that, because they were part of the reason that kind of got that thing going. Like, they really helped put it together and everything like that. So no, they definitely have done a lot of work for there, and they're awesome guys for that right there and there, But
yeah. Well, before we get into the review of the movie, we got a lot to talk about with this one. So let's go ahead and jump into the tale of the tape. All right. So if you never listened to the podcast before, each week, the tale of the tape, we go back and look at the week this movie was released. Maybe see if there's some interesting, news stories, some interesting tidbits about music or video games. And we definitely look at the box office each week, and we just kind of take you back to the time this movie was released. We're reliving that time and place. So This week we're going back to May 28th, 1993. That's when the Super Mario Brothers movie was released. And yeah, did you see this one in theaters?
Sadly, no, I didn't see this one in theaters. I saw it when I rented it from the VHS store, Video Scene, my local store in Twain Harte
Hmm.
that used to exist. That was
Yeah,
my first kind of, so probably about 94 is realistically by the time I saw it.
we were swapping dirty pics this week of our old our old video stores back in the day because I found out. Well, Google Earth has always had this, but I've never seen it on the phone before, where you can go back and look at past, you know, pictures of stuff. And I had to go all the way back to 2007, and I got the very tail end. I mean, within weeks probably, that T-Town Video in Troutman, North Carolina was open, and I took a little picture of it. I tried to clean it up. I'll find a way to clean it up a little bit, but it is there on Google Earth. It still lives on.
That's so cool. I know, it's like one of those ones that we were talking, I was like, I hope they almost have a way that people can, like, sorta upload even, like, older photos and stuff, because I know that obviously the car wasn't driving around pre-2007 or 8 or whatever, but it would have been kinda sweet to actually see, literally, like, like, almost like you click on a section and be like, "Well, here's, like, some pictures of this section from, 1994 or,
Hmm.
1976," you know?
Yeah, I would like to see something like that too. I would. There's sadly no pictures online of my old, local video store. Either one of them. The other one I
No.
couldn't even find.
I couldn't
Um,
find it, like, my other well, one, I only found, like, one slightly older picture, and then, yeah, the other video stores, well, they were gone way before Google cars were even driving around, so they were gone
yeah.
by, like, 2001, so
Mm. Well, I will tell you also. I also rented this movie from T Town Video the first time I saw it. I did not see it in theaters, and yeah, it's just it's kind of sad. Because neither one of us got a chance. Well, you've seen it on the big screen now.
I did see the 25th anniversary in Oakland. It was at a little mini theater, but, like, it was still counted and, like, eh, once again, we were talking about video games earlier and so on like that. Literally, while we're waiting for the movie to start, we're literally playing Mario Kart, Mario Tennis. There was somebody brought in some GameCubes and N64s. You're sitting around. There's a bar right there if you want to go get a beer or something like that. And then, all of maybe like 25 of us. And I think Laura might have been the only girl there.
Oh man.
We sat there and watched the screening of Mario Brothers, and dude, everybody was super into it because I don't know who goes out of their way to go see it unless you are really into it.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it was
That's like
so
a
much
yeah,
fun.
yeah. It's a little a fellowship, a little brotherhood of Super Mario Brother fans. So of course, again, May 28th, 1993, when this movie is released, directed by Annabelle Jankel and Rocky Morton. Well, they're married, right?
Yeah, they were married.
And apparently
For sure.
giant assholes.
Yeah, apparently they were like they just didn't get along with anybody else and so on like that. And
Mhm.
they had their vision for the script. The script sort of shifted multiple times throughout the process, but that's another thing.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in the review. But that's who directed this film. Of course, based off the original Mario games and from NES and Game Boy and Super Mario World. It's probably the last movie that was released before this one, I would imagine.
Yeah, World was
Um,
kind of the new game as this was being put together.
yeah. Hence the dinosaur thing. So yeah, of course, Bob Hoskins is Mario.
Best Mario ever. I don't care what
Oh,
anybody says.
yeah. Well, there's not a whole lot.
No, no, it's like one of those ones.
Better than Captain Lou?
Ooh, Captain Lou's really good though.
Yeah, he's a good one.
Captain
Yeah.
Captain Lou is kind of the man.
Yeah, Captain Lou. That was my first time seeing anything Mario. There was the animated
Mario
shows and
Super
stuff.
Show.
Yeah, the Mario Super Show was, and of course they recycled the theme song in the movie recently.
Yeah, well,
But
and that's the
yeah,
thing. There's like the Super Mario Super Show. The live action segments is what that's all about. The animation is
yeah,
kind of okay. Even as a kid, I remember being kind of. I mean, it was cool because it was Mario. The
yeah,
live action segments that are like a sitcom and they have like guests on there like Cyndi Lauper and all that stuff. They're so good.
yeah. They are really, really good. I somebody did like a super cut of just like the live action scenes recently, and I went back and watched it on YouTube, and I showed my kids that show, and they didn't say anything negative, but their faces said, "What the fuck are you showing?" Like they were like, "This is way out of this is too." It felt old then. So, but Bob Hoskins plays Mario. John Leguizamo plays Luigi Mario, and we'll talk more about the last
Yep, my
name
favorite
here.
Luigi.
Yeah. Dennis Hopper plays
Right here, Dennis Hopper.
Don. Oh my god, were you wearing a Dennis Hopper shirt?
Yeah, so I got my Dennis Hopper Super Mario shirt on. King Koopa.
I just now noticed that there's a lot of things I have to say about that character. A lot. It's just yeah. That shirt's fucking rad.
Isn't it bad? Like I remember because Ryan was getting Super Mario shirts, and he asked me, he's like, "Well, which one do you want? You want the Mario, the Luigi one, the Dennis Hopper with his tongue out?" I'm like, "No, no, I want the Dennis Hopper with his tongue out."
Yeah, of course you do. Of course you do. Um, yeah, but Dennis Hopper plays King
King Koopa.
Koopa. Um, Samantha Mathis plays Daisy. Fisher Stevens plays Iggy. Notorious
Mhm.
asshole, I've heard her recently.
Interesting.
And then was it Rich Edison?
Yeah,
Something
Spike.
plays Spike. Um,
You get
Lu-
Mojo Nixon playing Toad.
oh yeah, I forgot. Yeah, I always forget about Toad. Um, but the box office for this movie, it's number one at the box office this week. Again, May 28th, 1993. Cliffhanger.
Yep. In 1993, I'm gonna say this right off the bat. It's my favorite movie year
Did
of all
you
time.
pause on purpose because it felt like you were making a real cliffhanger?
I was. I wanted to leave you hanging there. Actually, I was waiting for see where you were coming at with that.
Yeah. Oh no,
But
cliffhanger.
1993 is I personally have come to the conclusion it's my favorite year of movies. I'm not
Mm,
gonna say it's the best for everybody, but for me, it's got Jurassic Park, it's got Super Mario Brothers, it's got Son-in-Law, it's got Cliffhanger, it's got Falling Down, it's got there's some other ones in there. I know they're on the tip of my tongue. Tombstone's in there.
yeah.
There's a lot. I think not Judge Dredd, but uh the other Stallone movie,
Demolition Man.
Demolition Man's 93 as well too.
Is it?
Like so
I love
there's just a
Demolition
lot
Man.
of stuff I love in 1993.
Yeah, I'm about some
Last Action
1993.
Hero, that's the other big one.
Yeah, I was going to mention that because on the VHS tape, I don't know if yours is the same way, but the trailers on here, one of them is Son-in-Law.
Yeah, because it is a Hollywood picture, so
Yeah.
same studio.
What was the other one now? I can't even remember. It was Son-in-Law and something. I cannot remember what the other one was, and I feel like I should remember it because it was pretty interesting. But Cliffhanger is number one at the box office. Number two, Made in America. Number three, Dave.
Oh, yeah, Dave.
Yeah. Number four, Super Mario Brothers. And then Hot Shots Part D.
Yeah.
And this movie didn't do great at the box office.
Oh, and
So
then you also got Menace to Society. That's another like
yeah.
1993 like super good film.
Yeah. I mean, it's the big thing that really hurts this movie is not what's at the box office when it opens, is what happens like 2 or 3 weeks later
Yeah,
when
but even
Jurassic Park
still,
just yeah.
yeah, it comes out and stomps the area. But it's so weird that even the movies it's coming out against, it doesn't feel like it has any competition. You know what I
Right.
mean? And it's weird that it's kind of low on the rock. I mean, Cliffhanger makes sense. That's Stallone's still at like pretty big height right there, and Cliffhanger is a humongous movie. You know, but everything else in there is like kind of weird. You're like, those movies outbeat the Super Mario Brothers movie, but I do think it's one of those weird ones that, in a sense, there's a generation gap issue going on for this movie. Is the people that would want to see it are probably younger audiences like ourselves and maybe slightly older and so on like that who don't have a car. They need somebody to take them there. They need their parents to go, and their parents probably don't care to go to see whatever this Mario Brothers movie is and so on like that. So it's kind of probably a hard sell for even a family movie. You know, and
Yeah.
you're coming up against a lot of stuff. Mario Brothers is super popular, but and it's that thing. It's just I think it's still at a weird time period where it's at a niche audience thing. It's not like when Mortal Kombat comes out just a couple of years later, where there is enough teenagers that can drive themselves to the movie theaters and fill in those seats and so on like that.
It's hard to market this one because it is so bizarre.
Hmm.
Such a departure from the source material in a lot of ways. Or I don't want to say departure, but definitely a bizarre interpretation of it.
Yeah.
And it's probably really hard to market that to kids because I mean, the regular Mario, I think it was one of the video games, got an actual McDonald's Happy Meal.
Yeah,
You
Mario
know,
3 did.
Yeah, Mario 3 got a Happy Meal. Mario 3 had the animated show. Um, it was, this kind of failed to reach that part of the audience. I felt like it just the little kids. This felt like it was for teenagers.
Well, yeah, that's the thing
And
is this movie is kind of made for an older audience.
yeah,
At the end of the
uh,
day, it's made for, yeah, teens and like 20-year-olds. It's made technically for going back to our pulp era stuff. It's made for that Batman slash Ninja Turtles, the first movie audience is who it's kind of shooting for. It's going for that kind of like edgier, more sophisticated, or, older teen, of course, but, young adult even.
there's a lot of overlap with this movie. I feel like in the 1990 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie because they went with the 90 Ninja Turtles movie. They went with the comics a little bit more, which is a little darker, a little edgier, a little more adult. There's a couple cuss words in it, which I thought was cool as a kid. So I thought it was like edgier and cooler, and I loved it. And they tried that with this one, but it just felt like it wasn't Mario in some ways, at least definitely from a marketing standpoint. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's probably where this thing faltered. And again, also Jurassic Park comes along in a couple weeks, and really just nothing really had a chance for about a month. That
Yeah,
was, even
that was it.
Schwarzenegger couldn't go against toe to toe with Jurassic Park. It's the biggest movie of all time up until Titanic comes out. So, yeah.
Yeah. And realistically, I'd say in the longest run, it is it's much bigger experience than Titanic because Titanic was huge for the time, but it's not nearly as remembered as Jurassic Park.
In terms of just like overall, just cultural relevance, and especially all the stuff at the time because it wasn't just a movie, it was the video game and, McDonald's super value meal and all this stuff because it was so many things. Yeah, Jurassic Park's bigger, but and it's, one of the biggest movies of all time. But yeah, I don't know. That didn't help. And Hot Shots, it finished above Hot Shots Part 2.
Yeah. So,
That's what's surprising.
Charlie Sheen wasn't, I can't remember if Charlie Sheen's movie came out the same week, but
Yeah, well, but hey, at least it finished ahead of that, so it's respectable going to
yeah.
the summer. I'm pretty sure this was the day I got out of school, May 28th, 1993, for the summer
Okay.
break that year.
Yeah.
I feel like I vaguely remember that because I wanted my uncle Jody, there's your Uncle
Mhm.
Jody reference. I want him to take me to see a movie, and I think he was already in Florida, and he couldn't. So I think that's probably why I didn't see this in theaters. Otherwise, I think he would have taken myself and my cousin Luke, who loved Mario.
Yeah.
He would have taken both of us to go see it. So I don't know, but there's your box office, May 28th, 1993. Looked up some music stuff. Aerosmith's there.
Oh, yeah. Gotta
You
love some
know,
Aerosmith.
you got some alternative rock trying to seep in a little bit. You got
Well,
some,
Mario Brothers has a solid soundtrack too, speaking of
yeah,
which.
yes, yeah, solid soundtrack. Um, you had some really cool toys too.
Yeah, I got two of them right here.
I was gonna ask you, I thought you did. Yeah, look at that.
Got the Mario. I need to get the Dennis Hopper one though, because I think there's a Dennis Hopper one, and then I believe there's like an Iggy and Spike one. They didn't make for some reason a Daisy one, but this is the era where you didn't make the woman action figure too or commonly.
They still do that some, I've noticed.
Yeah,
Like,
it's one of those ones. As a kid, I always wanted the woman action figure, but for some reason they didn't make very many of them.
well, with the Ninja Turtles right here above my head, I the hardest one to find was April.
Oh, I bet. Yeah, I got
Um,
an April O'Neil behind me back in that pile of stuff. You probably
yeah,
can't see it on the screen, but it's
yeah.
she's back there somewhere.
I don't think
Actually,
you can see
I
mine.
think she's sitting on top of Wonder Woman Barbie. So
Oh, there you go. But yeah, there's your box office, May 28th, 1993. Um, I guess we should just go ahead and jump into the rewind review because we got a lot to say about this movie.
I think so.
Let's do it. Okay, so Super Mario Brothers 1993. I'll say this, I'm gonna let you take the lead mostly because this is your shit. But in my opinion, there is no other adaptation like this one. It is one of one. It
Yeah.
is you can't compare it to any other adaptation. All of them, whether it be a video game or a comic book or, anything that's being translated from one media to movies, from one medium to movies, I should say. There's always creative liberties, always certain things you have to do to make it fit in that medium. But this was a lot. This took some very, very bold decisions.
Well, and I just finished watching Mortal Kombat 1995, and that's the perfect example of like they pretty much do a one-to-one translation of the games, especially for that time period, and put it into movie form. There's really not too much creative liberties. And like if there's anything kind of like off in that movie, it's like you're super nitpicking by that point. It's not
Yeah.
like there's anything, it's pretty much done fantastic the whole beginning way through beginning to end. Where Mario Brothers does the thing where it's like, well, how are we gonna adapt Mario? It's Mortal Kombat is already kinda set up like it's a movie. I mean, they're even using digitized
Mhm.
characters and everything like that. Street Fighter itself's already kinda set up like it's a movie if you think about it. They just got anime type looking characters. When you got Mario, that's like one of those games where it's like, even in the older games and so on like that, it's not like there's necessarily really like a story going on yet. It's got a really weird world. It's very surreal and everything like that. So I feel like you have to go with this very experimental style. They chose a cyberpunk, sci-fi, Mad Max kinda way to interpret this whole Mario world, and I think it's almost like you sorta had for live action, you kinda had to do something, you aren't gonna do the one-to-one that you did with Mortal Kombat, It's you're gonna have to change things up a bit. But I think in what they kinda created and everything like that, it still holds so much of the essence of Mario and so many of the elements while creating and expanding on this kind of brand new alternative version that I think really works. Like, the characters feel like it, the place is there, I like the atmosphere they got, they use that Ninja Turtles kind of vibe, meets Mad Max, meets Blade Runner, and once again, there's really not a whole else out there like it. It's so unique, and it's one of those things like, this Mario experience is completely its own.
Yeah, it's well, you mentioned first of all Ninja Turtles. It was filmed in a lot of the same locations
Yeah.
down in Wilmington, and especially like the Shredder hideout and things like that. But the thing is with this movie, and I heard it a long time ago. I think it was Cinemassacre say something like this, and I kind of felt the same way at the time. And I'll kind of expand on it. Is that how the fuck do you make a Mario Brothers movie at this time? Because the narrative is very limited with the first few games. Rescue the damn princess, whatever, you
Yeah,
know.
Stop Koopa. Well, because here's the thing, the first game to really have a story in it was Mario RPG, and that's because it came from Squaresoft,
Yeah,
Think about that.
yeah. I mean, there's a loose story. You gotta fight these people, save the princess. But other than that, you got like mushrooms that are trying to attack you. You got mushrooms that make you powerful. I mean, come on. It's a lot of drug references in here. And
Well,
then,
keep in mind in Japan, though, they don't have I think they don't have any of those kind of like mushrooms over there is just like food in a sense. They
yeah.
don't have necessarily really poisonous ones that kill you like California does. And I think the drug thing isn't like it's not looked the same way. I don't think they have the psychedelic ones nearly as much, or if any.
Oh, yeah.
So I think that like that's a lot of times an American interpretation of it is the drug reference stuff. Where I think in Japan, I don't think it has that same connotation.
No, no, but it feels that way, especially when the mushrooms make you do crazy things and the flowers and different things. But I mean, he's fighting mushrooms, he's fighting turtles with wings, he's fighting some turtles have hammers. And then the main bad guy is like this dragon, but he's got a turtle shell, he's got spikes. I mean, it's just a bizarre thing. I mean, you got the sea levels. Like, how do you make that a movie? And then on top of that, Super Mario Brothers, the original one, the NES one. Then you got Super Mario Brothers 2, which is wacky as hell. It's not even meant to be a Mario Brothers game. Um, and then you got Super Mario 3, and then you get to the Super Nintendo, which is the game that came out right before this movie, Super Mario World. They're all very different.
Well, then throw in Donkey Kong in the original
Yeah,
Mario Brothers arcade game, and you still got a bunch of different variations too.
and the
So,
Super Mario Land. I mean, it's weird.
so it's the thing about it is like, you know, what they did by taking it and kind of running with it, but yet still keeping the essence of what Mario is and just kind of in like a new, genre in a sense picture, I think really works. And it's like one of those ones like for people that are kind of complaining about like, well, what else were you going to do? Now, granted, I have read the original, one of the main original scripts. And ironically, that one went even more hardcore Mario. It had a lot of elements in there, from them fighting piranha plants to them getting the feather and turning into the Tanuki suit. And I mean, like somebody really played their Mario, you know.
Yeah,
But even still, it's like one of those ones when you're trying to convert this to live action, and it's not like you're trying to do the thing that they would do in the 2000s where they would take characters and ground them. Like X-Men is a good example of that.
yeah.
You take that and then, Bryan Singer doesn't want to use any of the costumes. He thinks they're stupid. He probably used the 90s term instead, for that. And instead puts them all in black suits, and that kind of stuff. And, grounds the characters in, reality, and same with a lot of things that are post 9/11 have that ground in reality. Where in this one, it still takes it and makes it fantastical, makes it feel fantasy, throws in sci-fi as well, which you don't really see in Mario, especially not till later on and stuff. So you throw the sci-fi element in there and you kind of combine different genres, yet still retain a lot of the characters, still retain a lot of like just the stuff in the background. There's a lot of like nods here and there and so on like that, you know. It's just that one, like sometimes I just don't know what people were expecting. Like the only way you're
Yeah,
gonna get Mario if you want it game wise would be to make it animated. And they did
yeah.
it in the 80s. There's an 80s or a Japanese animated Mario Brothers movie, where Mario gets totally screwed over at the end of the movie as Peach just literally says, "Thanks for saving me. See you later. I'm gonna go. I got this other dude instead." Cut the credits. It
Oh
was like,
man,
Jesus.
harsh,
Yeah, it was a hard,
harsh.
like, kids, get used to it. You're gonna
Someone
go
was
through a lot
scorned.
of work. You're
Yeah,
gonna be the blue collar guy, but you're not gonna win in life. You're not gonna win. No, 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 no. You'll be lucky to get Big Bertha as your wife.
yeah. Somebody was scorned when they wrote that, for sure. Yeah, it's just I agree with you. I mean, what are you gonna do with it? But also, it's like, how do you market this version of it? Because people think Mario. There are certain things that they do think that it was not this movie. Like for the color, it's bright, it's
Mhm.
colorful, it's vibrant. This movie's it's Blade Runner, but
Yeah,
with covered in fungus, and
yeah.
there's like dystopian elements, Mad Max elements, Blade Runner elements. Um, so which is just completely different than what the games are. Like you don't see any of that in the games. And then, there's just certain you know, things that they try to incorporate in a weird way. Like Mario jumps really high and he hits bricks and he, gets power ups and stuff like that. So they give him the shoes and stuff, the
Mhm.
boosts and different things like that. So I feel like they sat down at one point because they really pushed Mario, they really pushed Nintendo to get the rights to make this movie, and Nintendo would willingly let them do it. And I feel like somebody had like a really really bold idea and played Mario once, interpreted all these things in a different way. Well, they could jump high if they do this, and they made their own world in their head. And so you're watching is someone's head canon of Mario, and I don't know. I mean, in one way, it's amazing. And one way it's kind of weird. And I still to this day do not know how to feel about it. It's there's some things I love, and there's some things I'm like, why is this a Mario? How is this a Mario movie? Where did you get any of this stuff? So I don't know. It's kind of bizarre.
I think also for myself probably is that like all this Mario stuff sort of culminated for me like kind of at the same time.
Mhm.
Because I started off as a kid who played ColecoVision and like Atari, and then instantaneously got kind of caught up in like I had a Sega Genesis then, and then I got really caught up by just people that had Nintendo and all that stuff. So when I started playing Mario 1 and 3 and World, Mario movie kind of came out all at that same time. So it's like those ones are all wrapped together to me in like the same ball, where I could see maybe if you went for 10 years playing Mario since Donkey Kong, and then all of a sudden this movie comes out, you're like, wait a second, I've been going at this, the whole time, and this is kind of one of this. Well, that's not really how I interpreted it when I was playing them the whole time. So I could kind of see that being the thing. And also I
Yeah.
think kids, sometimes you just kind of accept things for what they are when you're younger. You just kind of look at it and go, yeah, okay, movie, yeah, that must be it. The same way that I like Judge Dredd Stallone. I'm like, that okay, here we go. Didn't question it when I was younger.
Yeah, I do remember watching this first time and being kind of creeped out and been like, "What?" Especially when you see Yoshi later in the movie. That part was always like, "What the? That's come on." Because Yoshi was still a really new character when this came out. Mario had been around for some years, had kind of seeped into the lexicon because you got an NES. The first thing you get is Mario Brothers, and
Yeah,
Duck Hunt, you know,
yeah. And Donkey
and
Kong being one of the major savers of the arcade.
yeah. So I mean, Mario had been like, around for a while, but Yoshi was a brand ass new character, especially in North America. So I mean, that was kind of interesting that they even went that route. And the dinosaur route and the meteorite route and the dimensional route, which I actually think makes sense.
Yeah.
The dimensional thing is great.
Yeah. They
Um,
even technically use some of this. They take some stuff from the new Mario Galaxy movie where Peach literally is with Toad, and she goes to go through like a dimension section, and she touches the wall, and it feels just like Mario 1993 when they go into the nether dimension.
oh really? Yeah, I
Yeah.
haven't had a chance to see the new one yet.
Yeah. The new one, I'll sum it up in a simple way. It's worth watching, but it's kind of a middle of the road movie. It's like,
Yeah.
it's I think I'm just gonna say this is me. I think it's the illumination thing. I think illumination is just the hard part that I kind of have. It's like if I wish another animation studio kind of had it, and it's not that illuminations they're not bad animators. I just they always have to put their own like flavor over the top of it, and I feel like that
Yeah.
always kind of dilutes it a bit. It feels kind of uncanny in a way. Once again, not bad. It's still worth watching. But even the other
Yeah.
thing too is this is what me and Ryan summed up. There's not a ton of story in that movie. There's a lot of scenes, but there's not a whole lot of story. It's just kind of
That's what
like,
I've heard.
yeah, like I'll say this is the thing about the Mario Brothers 1993 movie. It's got a story that's going from beginning to end. There's excitement the whole way through. The pacing's great. The plot's cool. There's interesting scenes coming up and up, but it's like progressively moving along. It feels like we're here. We're not just watching random scenes kind of placed together.
Yeah. Um, so so we're gonna look at just kind of the synopsis of this, and then I want to talk about like the characters and stuff because the casting's pretty interesting, and I can't wait. I can't wait to talk about Koopa. I cannot wait to talk about Koopa. Um,
Koopa.
so if you've never seen the Super Mario Brothers movie, we're gonna spoil the shit out of it here. But let me just sum it up a little bit like this. At the very beginning of the movie, you get this you see dinosaurs. And then there's this guy with a Brooklyn accent. Is it Bob Hoskins doing that voiceover? I don't think it is.
No, I want to say it's literally it's Dan Castaneda or Netta,
Okay.
Homer Simpson doing it.
Oh, okay. Okay, there we go. So basically he's like, what if the meteorite that hit the dinosaurs actually caused a ripple into another dimension and the dinosaurs are in this dimension? And now they're trying to find a way to get back. And so basically that's the start of the movie. Dinosaurs get hit by a meteorite, which I guess lands in Brooklyn, or Brooklyn 65 million years ago, and it causes another dimension. The dinosaurs are in that dimension. There's also fungus, and that's where they live, and they've evolved in their way. And then the humans, the primates, have taken over Earth, and they've evolved their way. Which, by itself, take Mario out of it.
Mhm.
Okay, interesting concept. You
Yeah, great
have
concept.
Yeah, you have a portal. The lizards evolve this way, the primates evolve this way. There's going to be a war. Now that's fucking awesome.
Mhm.
Like, just take Mario out of it. But the problem is Mario's in that. So I don't say it is a problem kind of because it's like how did you get this idea from Mario? But whatever. But again, how else do you interpret it? And they do a really good job with the mushrooms and stuff too. But That's what the movie is. It's you know, an interdimensional time like traveling movie where there's lizards and there's humans, and they take a that's what causes them to have such a bold take on what Koopa is, because he's just basically an evolved lizard, just like we're evolved primates. So
Mhm.
it's it's a very, very interesting take on it. That's all I'll say. But that's what it is.
But I think it's still a really neat one, and then you just throw in the Mario Brothers who got their kinda blue collar plumbing business and so on like that, that they're just kinda barely making ends meet and so on like that. They got their van that's falling apart. Scapetti's the other guy that they're always battling against, and he's always seeming to have the big business. He's taking over all the jobs, causing all kinds of mischief across, like, Brooklyn and all that stuff. And you just see these guys who get sort of wrapped into this interdimensional struggle as they run into this girl, Daisy, who just happens to be some, free-spirited college girl who wants to, you know,
Being a couple plumbers.
yeah, pretty much, and, dig up archaeology and so on.
Yeah. Um, yes, Capelli's, definitely got mob ties.
Yeah,
That's
100%.
definitely they really drive that home, even then they don't say it, but like very stereotypical mob character in a movie. Which was that in the
So
Mario
much so the
movie?
dude's in The Godfather, it makes sense.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, so yeah, that's Capelli. Um, I will say when they did the new Mario Brothers movie a few years ago, because I think this is the first time I've watched the 1993 Mario Brothers movie since I've watched the new movies, the
Mhm.
animated stuff. I haven't seen Galaxy yet, but um, there's a lot of overlap with the beginning of the new animated movie and the old movie.
Yeah, that's the thing is that the animated movie does use some elements from this one, which I do give them a lot of credit for that kinda stuff.
Yeah, and you have to, give credit to the Super Mario Super Show because they kind of like drove home the plumber thing too, and
Mhm.
there was a lot of stuff with that too that kind of overlapped into both, the old 1993 movie and the future animated movie. But um, yeah, these guys are plumbers. They're blue collar. Luigi is John Leguizamo, and he doesn't want to work, and he doesn't have a mustache. Now that part I will not forgive.
You don't like him not having a
I
mustache?
don't
See,
like no, I can't forgive it. I just can't forgive it.
yeah, I mean, I guess he coulda had just a little Mexican mustache or something like that.
Well, also, yeah, neither one of these guys are Italian, which Bob Hoskins
Well, see,
does the
in the
Brooklyn thing so well. So
in the olden days, there used to be a thing called acting, and that meant you played characters that weren't yourself. And for some reason, nowadays, we live in this era where, like, if you aren't that, like, nationality, don't even dare play that character because 'cause that'd be racist.
okay, I agree with everything you're saying, but there are so many Italian actors, like it would because I think the reason it bums me out is because Bob Hoskins does great.
Yeah,
Okay, let's
Bob
just
Hoskins, I mean, he's the man when it comes to this.
yes. Despite how much he hates this movie with every fiber of his being, and by the way, none of these people hold back at
No, they
all.
they really dislike it, but I will say, I think it's a generation thing. It's that same problem that Last Action Hero has. I think it's hard for certain older people to kinda understand what the hell this is all going on here.
I think that's part of it, but also they really just usually when they try to be professional about talking shit about certain people because they might have a part for you later. They might have something that you do want to do, and they might, it could come back to bite you in the ass if you talk shit about the wrong people. But Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo and Dennis Hopper all talk so much shit about these directors. It's a husband and wife team. They suck. They're idiots. They don't know what they're doing. Even the agents told them to get off set. Like they don't, you know.
Yeah, 'cause they literally the directors literally almost got kicked off their own movie.
Yeah, I mean, and wasn't one of the directors that like he camped out like at Nintendo trying to get this far? Or was that one of the producers?
Yeah,
That did
somebody did. I can't remember if it was
Yeah,
either the directors or the producers, but
I think it
yeah,
was
the
one of the
husband and
producers.
wife
Yeah,
team literally wanted, like they were gonna switch directors on him, like
yeah, yeah. So, but going back to Bob Hoskins, I like this role. He's great. But, Dustin Hoffman wanted it. He threw himself out there like, "I want this movie," and they're like, "No, get out of here." Then they went to Danny DeVito, and they're like, "Nah," the studio's like, "Nah, it's not gonna work." Then they were gonna get Tom Hanks, and they thought, "Nah, this guy can't do it." And that's right before he goes on his generational run. So it's a good thing Tom Hanks missed out on this, because then you get Philadelphia and you have Forrest Gump, and
Yeah.
I mean, just
Well,
that boom, boom, boom.
and I hate to sort of say it, all those guys you name, not saying they couldn't play the part, I just don't think they Bob Hoskins really captures Mario, I feel like 100%.
Yeah,
I think that's the thing is he's got the right build, he's short enough, he's got the attitude, 'cause the one thing too I like about old school Mario is that he had attitude. I know that's more the Americanized versions, Super Mario Super Show and this and everything like that. They just really drove home that blue collar, hard working, guy, and I love that kind of Mario,
yeah,
which has kind of faded away as time has gone on because they've softened all the corners and, made things safe.
definitely.
Mario doesn't punch people anymore.
Chris Pratt Mario,
Yeah, Chris
you
Pratt,
know.
even though Chris Pratt does better than you would think, like, the Chris
Oh,
Pratt
yeah.
sounds like a terrible choice. When I first heard that, I'm like, "Get the fuck out of here. No way." And then you listen, he's like, "Okay, he's doing better than I thought."
Oh, there's nothing wrong in my opinion about the job he does, but that version of Mario is very,
Yeah,
classic comparison.
he's not
Yeah.
as rough and tumble, and he doesn't feel like he's got his hands dirty enough, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, Bob Hoskins Mario has seen some shit, you know.
Yeah.
He's, a little more streetwise. He ain't taking shit from anybody. Um, the person to play this role, Joe Pesci as Mario is the only thing. It's the only person I would have chose over. Bob Hoskins does a great job. All those other people, they'll love Dustin Hoffman. He could have definitely done it.
Yeah,
Danny
Jack
DeVito
Dustin
could have
Hoffman
done it.
coulda acted his way into it for sure. He's the kinda
Oh, for
guy that
sure.
on paper doesn't sound like the right choice, but he woulda acted his way into it.
Yeah, I would actually like to have seen Joe Pesci, Dustin Hoffman, Mario and Luigi. It would have been really interesting to see. Um, but yeah. So Bob Hoskins is fine. John Leguizamo, I think, also a good choice for Luigi.
Yeah, makes good
Um,
for the younger brother, just the kid kinda character who's got these
is he
talents, but
the?
doesn't really know how to channel it.
But is he the younger brother? Is that
I've
what the?
always I mean, the movie kinda is the one that kinda set that part in motion that he was sort of the younger one because he's player 2, you know,
Yeah,
I guess in the game, you could almost go, are they like twins? But I always feel Luigi still feels like he kind of holds on to Mario like an older brother. You know what I mean? It's mostly always Luigi following Mario. Once in a blue moon, Luigi's got to get Mario out of jam if it's like Luigi's Mansion or if it's like Mario is missing or something like that. But
yeah.
I still
But
think he is like Mario's definitely the older brother. He's the hero. Luigi's the brother who kind of like wants to be cool like, Mario, so he always tags along.
what I'm saying, in this movie, there's that dinner scene where it kind of makes it feel like Mario adopted him. And I think they were trying to make sense about I think they went too far with this. They're trying to make sense about why it's called the Mario Brothers, because his first name's Mario.
Yeah.
And so they have the whole joke later in the movie. Like, what's your name? Mario. What's the last name? Mario. And then what's your name? Luigi Mario. And then,
How many
they do
Marios
that.
do we got here?
Yeah, yeah. They do that whole joke later in the movie. And I like that they did that, because it is clever. Because I always wondered, even as a kid, like, why is it the Mario Brothers?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If his first name's Mario. Um, And then they tried to add this weird story in there where they're at the dinner, and it seems like Mario almost adopted Luigi, like it's a father-son thing, but like he's a big brother too. It's just weird how they portray it in the movie.
Yeah, the
I
way
don't
I
know what
always
they
looked
were
at
going
that
for.
scene is that, like, somehow, some way their parents died or something like that, dead parents, at
Mhm.
least it's not a Christmas movie.
Yeah,
But it's
y-
that thing that, like, I picture that, since Mario in this version, he's at least, like, a good 10 years older than Luigi,
yeah,
that because, like, when the parents died, Mario was the one that had to raise Luigi, almost like a Lilo and Stitch kinda thing, and, I feel that's kind of like what he means by just John Leguizamo says it weird. He's like "My mother," and he's like and Mario's like, "Don't you dare call me your mother."
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's really hard to follow with what they were trying to do, but I like John Leguizamo as Luigi. A lot of people didn't like that. Didn't like his performance. Thought it was kind of awkward, and the writing is kind of bad. But he's good in it. I
Yeah,
like he's
I
kind of
love it.
unassuming. Yeah.
To me, it's his favorite. That's my favorite role he's ever been in. Is this one right here?
Better than the best?
Better in the past.
I like him in John Wick
Oh
too.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he's kind of
I like him
John
in
Wick.
Collateral Damage. He dies kind of early on, but
Yeah, but doesn't he have facial hair in both of those? I just want to put that out there.
I think he does. Yeah.
He
See, he
does.
could have had the little mustache. He could have had like
He could have a mustache.
it doesn't have to be like a big mustache. I think a little mustache would work. Like he's growing it out. It's a work in progress.
Give me a little Ricky Ricardo something. I don't know. But yeah, he needed to have facial hair. So Bob Hoskins, great as Mario. I wouldn't recast it knowing what I know now,
Mhm.
unless I could get Joe Pesci. um, uh, but yeah, John Leguizamo as Luigi. I don't have any problems with any of that. They thought they both did a good job. Samantha Mathis. Well, it's kind of weird that they went with Daisy.
Yeah, well, you know what I think the reason was is because at this time period in America, Princess Peach was just referred to as Princess Toadstool, and they probably thought that was too weird of a name to have. And then when they saw the Game Boy game, like had a girl named Daisy in it, they were like, "There's a normal name. Let's use
Yeah.
that." So she feels like she's a weird fusion between Daisy and Princess Peach. She's got sort of some of the Daisy characteristics. She's kind of more like Luigi's girlfriend, yet she still has kind of some of the pink, queen outfits or whatever, princess outfits and so on like that too. I always still lean more into like she's like a Daisy character. And then of course Mario has his girlfriend in there too, and she goes by a different name, but I'm always like, that's Pauline from Donkey Kong, 100%. It's just they use a different name, but like let's be honest, that's what that character feels like 100%. Um,
I never thought about that.
yeah, well, what do they call her? Gosh, I'm drawing a blank on the
I
name
can't.
of this.
I can't remember. Um.
I'm like, why the hell is she not in like the normal like roster of people here?
Yeah. 'Cause that's OG. I mean, that was Atari originally, wasn't it?
Well, arcade first, but then there was an Atari and a ColecoVision before there was
Yeah.
even an NES version and so on. But like, yeah, Pauline's finally kind of come back into being like a main character in Mario games recently. Um, That's 100% why I feel like Mario's, girlfriend is in this one, So it makes kinda sense.
Yeah.
You don't have a Princess Toadstool, but you got somebody kind of in between. And I know, like, in Japan, I think it was always Princess Peach, and then somehow there was, like, a mistranslation thing. It's kinda the same thing with, like, Doctor Robotnik. He was always called Doctor Eggman in Japan, though I actually think Doctor Robotnik sounds cooler.
Yeah, I
Um,
do too.
but, like, he always was, Doctor Eggman, just like Princess Peach was always Princess Peach in Japan.
Yeah, that whole thing used to confuse the shit out of me as a kid. Like, this is King Koopa here, but now he's Bowser, and I'm like, "Well, are they different characters?" No, they're the same character, just the name changed. Princess Toadstool was now Peach. Daisy's the only one that stayed consistent, and then Mario and Luigi. Other than that, they all kind of changed up a little bit. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's odd that they went with that. She's just like she's the whole this whole thing is silly. So she's I guess what do you call these people? Archaeologists?
She's an
Yeah.
archaeologist,
Yeah.
but like just like
That's
a college level. So she's pretty much just like a bunch of college kids out there, practically like, Scapelli does a dig or whatnot for I don't know, oil or whatever he's looking for in Brooklyn, and they discover some bones, of course, and so that all gets shut down that business project so that they could come take a look, and they find all these weird extra evolved dinosaur bones down here.
yeah. They found a bunch of bizarre bones because it turns out Brooklyn was a hot spot for dinos back in the day. And this new semi-evolved species of dinosaurs that's bizarre, and they had to throw in this movie because it's a 90s movie. If you don't have basketball, you have dinosaurs.
Yeah, dinosaurs is the other basketball of the '90s.
Yeah. Playing karate.
Yeah. If
If
you
you
can have all 3 of those,
Yeah.
you got a winning combination.
Yeah, and this movie had to have one of them. It chose dinosaurs.
Mhm.
But, yeah, so she is a archaeologist. She's great in the movie. She's fine. No
Yeah,
problem
I
with
like her
her.
a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's got
Uh,
kind of that dinosaur look to her face. I feel like that's why she was sort of chosen. It sounds weird, but it's the same way with, Michelle Pfeiffer. She's kinda got that cat look to her face. I feel like that's 100% the reason she was chosen for Batman Returns. The way her
that
eyes are kinda farther out.
Yeah. Listen, I don't want you to take this the wrong way. You'll look prehistoric. You look like a dinosaur. It is your face. Your face does look a dinosaur.
Here's the thing: in a couple of years, they're gonna make a show called Animorphs. All you people out there who look kind of like an animal, we got a place for you.
Yeah, yeah. Your face is it's given dinosaur.
Yeah,
But
you look like you want to eat my head off right now. You know,
yeah,
you don't even look like an herbivore to me.
yeah. No, she's definitely she's a meat eater.
Yeah, even
I'm
though
a
she in the movie she's a vegetarian. Because they have that, they always gotta have that scene where one of the Goombas, Toad Goomba, comes in with a big old pile of raw meat practically, and she's like, "Oh, but I'm a vegetarian. I don't eat anything with a face." You know,
yeah,
it's weird. I watch that scene and I always go, "That's such '90s." I'm like, wait a second, that stuff only got worse as time went
yeah. That's true.
on.
Yeah,
That's so actually so subtle back then. It's just, oh, vegetarian, nice. She wants some steamed vegetables. Nowadays, God, the vegan would come in and be like, oh, did that broccoli, touch a pig at some point? I can't have it.
yeah. It's got a whisper of meat.
Yeah, a fish
Um,
breathed on it. I can't have
yeah.
that.
We get that at work sometimes. It drives me nuts. Um,
Those people, I always just go, how would those people survive out in the wild? They would be dead in seconds. They're the kind that like a compy would be the one that eats them, like if they got stuck in prehistoric times.
I've had people bring in business cards with their allergens, but
See, those people were meant to die. In olden days, they were literally meant to die. That was it. You were not. When you hear about like the 1800s and someone has like 10 kids and they lost like 4 of them,
yeah.
that was one of the kids right there. That was literally one of the kids. Like, oh, it was allergic to peanuts, and one day she had a peanut and died out in the field, and well, we buried her right there too, and now that's known as her field.
Yeah.
That's okay. I had another kid though.
Yeah. We replaced her. And this
Yeah,
one isn't gluten free.
yeah.
Um, the people will come in, they'll bring me like cards like that, or the one that gets me is this is a seafood restaurant. And they're like, I'm allergic to fish, shellfish. Why the fuck
Get
are
the
you
hell
here?
out of here.
They all the time. I'm allergic to shellfish. Am I safe to eat here? Probably fucking not, honestly.
No. Yeah.
Like, things happen.
If you had a gluten intolerance, you wouldn't go to an Italian restaurant.
Yeah. 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 Now we had to change our menu to say gluten friendly, just not to piss people off. Um, yeah, fuck. Never mind.
Yeah, fuck those
Um,
people.
yeah.
There's nothing wrong with having a problem. Just don't be a bitch about it to everybody else. That's how I kind of feel. You know what I mean? Like, I get it. You know?
There's that one skit where like they're talking shit. This all the servers at the end of the shift and they're talking shit about all the people. And yeah, there was that one guy that came in here with his big ass glasses and he's got his pimp cane and he's like bouncing and everything. And they're like, that guy was blind. Don't talk shit about him. He said, oh, well, he was gluten free. And they're like, yeah, fuck that guy. Oh man. But so anyway,
Yeah, she's
um,
a vegetarian.
yeah, she's a vegetarian. She's a vegetarian. Oh, na, na, na. I don't think that's what it says in that song, but it sounds like it. The one song in Dumb and Dumber.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So we covered Mario, we covered Luigi, we got Daisy. I gotta talk about King Koopa because
Dennis Hopper.
it's here's the thing. Dennis Hopper's King Koopa. Watching it nowadays, take do me a favor, take your political leanings and just sit them to the side for a second. Okay. Let's just all be bipartisan here. There's a lot of Donald Trump in that character. It's
Let me kind of look at Dennis Hopper there in that picture.
yeah. It's like he just this the hair, even though it doesn't look like Donald Trump hair,
It's just he's got
it's
unique hair that's all his own.
and that same color, and he just it's very Donald Trump. It's very, very Donald Trump, but even more unhinged.
Yeah, where he's got no problem just like murdering people, and he's pretty much taken over this whole kingdom from Daisy's father and everything like that.
Yeah, I mean, when you're making him sound more Trumpy, but it's 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 very, very bizarre. Dennis Hopper must have needed money.
Well, this is that kind of comeback era of Dennis Hopper, like,
Yeah.
the late 80s into the early 90s. He almost had like this Mel Gibson kind of thing where he could only play bad guys for the most part for a while. You know,
Yeah.
you you didn't
He did
see
such a good
Dennis
job.
Hopper. Yeah, well, that's the he was so good at him. But like, I think of like there's oh, what the fuck's that? Oh, what's his name? Movie
Velvet.
Blue Velvet.
David
There's
Lynch.
that
Yeah.
one where you get Dennis Hopper coming in there, which I almost think that's one of his first kind of like major comeback movies. I know he was always in stuff, but like he was humongous in the late '60s, early '70s, and just like totally got kind of kicked out of that Hollywood for being too rambunctious and so on like that. But then kind of had his comeback in the late '80s, '90s. Of course, he's a bad guy here. He's a bad guy in Speed. He's a bad guy in Waterworld and everything like that. And he kind of hit all those characters chewing the scenery, looking like a badass and everything like that. So it only seems right that in Super Mario he comes as Koopa. And oddly, a lot of times I almost feel this is like my first Dennis Hopper experience. So when I think Dennis Hopper, I think King Koopa, When I watch Easy Rider, it's like, hey, there's King Koopa with a mustache, like riding a motorcycle.
He's definitely he's doing some Dino Coke
Yeah.
for sure. He's supposed to be descendant of like T-Rex,
hmm
and he wants to get back to Earth for some like regular Earth for some reason,
Well,
or
because
our Earth.
I think it's because like in Koopa's world, they've kind of like destroyed that planet as time has gone on. They've used up all like the nutrients and so on. So the only thing left is like the Dino Manhattan area, and then the whole rest of the planet's become like a desert. And I don't know if that's either just due to like the way that the climate changed for them, or if they sucked out all the resources and so on. But it's a fresh start if you can get to the other side of Earth or the other dimension of Earth.
Yeah, they also have some very scary looking twin towers
Yeah, got
as a
the evil twin
precursor.
towers. So
Yeah.
those twin towers could stand up to some planes. I'm just saying.
Yeah. I don't know, it's kind of creepy. And this is not long when movie is released. It's not long after the World Trade Center bombing.
Yeah,
I think a few months after. So that was kind of interesting. But yeah. So Dino Hatton um is it's a very Blade Runner esque. It's got there's this fungus growing on because again, you have this Mario thing, and he's obsessed with mushrooms. He eats mushrooms to get bigger. He eats mushrooms to get more powerful, the super abilities or whatever, to get extra life. So you gotta have that in there. The Mario animated movies, that's easy to do.
yeah,
In this, you're trying to have a more grounded, real world view of that. So there's a lot of fungus everywhere, which I thought was pretty clever.
yeah. Trust the fungus.
Trust the fungus. Um, there's only so much you can do. But yeah, it's a weird the Dino Hatton thing is bizarre, but it's man, it's elaborate. It's one of the most elaborate set pieces I think of the '90s, like right up there with like Hook.
Yeah. Well,
You know what I
they
mean?
they did spend a lot on this movie.
Oh
That's
yeah,
kind of one of the main reasons why it kind of flopped is because they spent like 40 million plus bucks on it.
it
Which
shows
I'm
too.
just gonna pull up Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat was half the price. It was 20 million,
Yeah,
and Ninja Turtles was even half that. I think that's like 12 million.
yeah,
So you got to kind of put those into perspective there. And I think that's the thing is with Mario. I think once again they were looking at that Batman money. They were pulling the same Dick Tracy problem and the other like pulp things where they looked at the Batman money, they looked at the Ninja Turtles money, and they just thought that like, hey, these other things are in the same ballpark, right? They're gonna make $100+ million too, right?
yeah. I think one thing it struggled with is like, okay, so the Ninja Turtles movie, yeah. So aesthetically, they go with more of the dark, gritty stuff. Narratively, it's a little darker. Um, but they managed to hit the spirit of the characters. You know what I mean? They got the sarcasm from the TV show. They like pizza. They got all that stuff. Mario didn't have any of that because there's no dialogue.
Yeah, that's the thing is it doesn't. There's once again, it doesn't have like a story basis to pull from the same way. So that's why I give them a lot of credit that they're really just kind of taking things and connecting the dots, like in their kind of vision, and adding a genre type over the top to make it sort of fit. And I think that that's really thinking outside the box on how to put this all together and how to come up with something quite unique, yet still retains a lot of like Mario vibes, on the underneath.
Yeah, it's just hard. It's a hard sell. And because when I remember this coming out, my thought would have been something like, what's that Robin Williams movie, Toys?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well, also a lot of liminal stuff in that movie. We were talking about liminal space earlier. That movie's kind of creepy. Um, but something bright is what I was expecting. Something,
Dick
very,
Tracy.
yeah, yeah. Honestly, yeah, I was expecting something like that, and you get this weird dystopic, Blade Runner thing, and the thing is with this movie, it's is never going to make some people happy, especially now that these new Mario movies are out. But I will say one thing about this movie and this aesthetic. Disney, jeez, Nintendo's made a massive mistake, in my opinion, on one thing. Not only trying to bury this movie, but this aesthetic should not have been used in the first movie. I think it should exist. I think they should have done something a little bit more akin to the games in that world in the first movie. But there is to me, if you did like a cyberpunk Mario game,
Hmm.
it would be a great sequel to something. And I would love to have seen like them Nintendo lean into this, like, okay, well, let's make a cyberpunk Mario. Let's make something that's kind of got this aesthetic kind of vibe and make it look like Mario, and have some of the, features of a Mario game, some of the gameplay of a Mario game, some of the same dynamics, but have this aesthetic, have this skin, have some new bad guys. Put those Goombas in a video game. I always wish they would have kind of like made all these other movies get a video game in the 90s. If it's a big movie, Jurassic
Hmm.
Park, Batman, Terminator, it gets a video game. The one movie that's based off a video game, the first movie that's ever truly based off a real video game, doesn't get a video game. That's kind of weird.
And the thing too is like this would be a cool one to have a neat like tie-in game. And something I
Yeah.
use for example is Street Fighter the movie actually has a tie-in movie game that goes with it too. That uses like and it's an interesting one too. It's actually pretty neat because it uses the same gameplay as Street Fighter 2 and everything like that, but it has digitized characters from the movie in there. So it has this almost Mortal Kombat kind of look to it. And I think it's just a kind of cool combo, of everything like that. Is it as good as maybe Street Fighter 2? Maybe not, but
Mm.
I think it's still very novel and neat and gives you that experience of the movie, but in game form. It would be cool to see the same thing of Mario Brothers, where you got a cool platformer, but it was all designed around the look and feel of this game or this movie.
Yeah. I would still feel like Nintendo should have done that. I feel like it's a huge mistake because if they could have brought more credibility to the movie for people who are like, well, this isn't Mario. Well, it is now because look at this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, and you could do some certain things to it to make it fit more in a video game. You don't. It doesn't have to be. The Goombas don't have to look just like that. Koopa doesn't have to look just like that. But just to kind of put it in that world a little bit is something that I would like to see them do. But one of the big problems also with
Actually,
this movie. Go ahead.
I'm gonna say this real quick. This idea just popped in my head. Imagine, okay, here's the thing. What if they kind of changes a bit? What if they made an arcade beat 'em up style game, but with this whole look?
Hmm.
So you could have kind of little cool cut scenes that had like Dennis Hopper, King Koopa in there and so on, but you played as Mario, Luigi, Daisy. Shit, who else you play as the fourth character? I was gonna say maybe Yoshi, but that'd be kind of weird. But I guess you could play as Yoshi, whatever.
Yeah.
You know,
I,
or or the Pauline character, I guess would be the other one, but that would be probably too weird for like a beat 'em up game. I guess Yoshi or Toad, I guess, would be the only ones you could play as. Mojo Nixon Toad.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, have like a Mario Toad. I wouldn't want to see like take it from this movie. I would just like to see them like, here's a Mario game. Here's this aesthetic. Here's some ideas, the jumper boots or whatever. Let's put that in the game. Let's put fungus everywhere. Like, let's take some of the ideas and merge it with an actual Mario game. But a beat
Yeah.
'em up would be really, really cool. I
Yeah,
mean,
because that'd be kind of different. You wouldn't expect that. That's not really a Mario thing, but I think it could actually kind of work well, you
yeah,
know?
Mario, Luigi, Yoshi, all kinds of stuff you could do. Maybe Donkey Kong comes in every once in a while.
Yeah,
That's some
you could
stuff.
throw some other little cameos in there, like kind of almost like what if, like put the other Nintendo characters kind of like in the aesthetic of the Super Mario Brothers
Mm.
93 movie.
Metroid would fit really good in there.
It really would. Like if there's the one like where the new Mario movie and even the other one too, I guess you could sort of say, but they have like the sort of cameos in there and so on like that. This movie could have literally had a Samus cameo like in the background and like it would have worked.
Yeah.
Granted, by the time this comes out, really Samus has like two games, in a sense. She just has one and the Game Boy one, but still.
Yeah. Unfortunately, this aesthetic would have been perfect for Mega Man.
Yeah, this actually would have probably worked really well for him if you did a Mega Man live action movie.
Yeah, I could see this definitely working very, very well for Mega Man, but they use it on Mario. But yeah, I wish they would have done a game uh like this, a tie-in game, and to add credibility to the movie, and kind of evolve that character again, because again, at this point in time, Mario's not as set in stone. You know,
Mhm.
Mario's Mario now. Like,
Yeah,
you can't.
then you can't mess with that.
No, now you couldn't make this movie now, because you couldn't have made this movie in the 2020s, because everybody has their idea of what Mario is. And back then there was a little bit more interpretation, because the games were so different, the TV shows were different. You could play around with it a little bit. And I
I
wish.
mean, even the Japanese movie has a different interpretation of the anime one.
Right, yeah, I mean, so because there's no narrative in those early games except for Save the Princess. People had to create their own ideas of what that world was. So I like that this one did it. I just wish that Nintendo would have embraced it more and had a game, and but they could still do that. Cyber Mario is still a thing that could happen, in
Yeah,
my
well, because
opinion.
I feel like nowadays we do the one upside we do live in that kind of niche era where you can kind of make something for like certain fans, even if it's like the fan basis is like 1/10 of like everybody else out there, even 1/5, and like you could still have a place for it. Like you
Yeah.
could make a real novel game that kind of is like, hey, remember this movie? Because once again, once something's generally over 25 years old, that it gets kind of looked upon in a different light.
Yeah. Was there tie-in comics to this one or anything?
I don't believe so. There's like a fan made sequel comic to it that me
Mm.
and Ryan read for one of the podcasts and so on, which was kind of cool because I will say this movie ends in such a great way that looks like, man, I can't wait for the second one.
Oh
And I was
yeah.
so bummed as a kid that knowing that there wasn't going to be one because literally, I know it's kind of jumping ahead, but Daisy comes back like in full, like, you know, sci-fi kind of gear and whatnot, like war is going down, like load up your tools, let's go take this on. And in that comic, I want to say they go back and King Wart, which they finally used in the new movie. That was actually my favorite part of the Mario Galaxy movie. Was Wart was
Yeah.
there because I've always said that, and I know me and Ryan talked about that many times. That like, man, they never use Wart in anything. Like he was in Mario 2, the American Mario 2, and they've never thrown him in anything else. So same with a lot of the other characters. I mean, they've taken a few guys like Shy Guy and so on like that,
Yeah.
but yeah, they throw him in there and they throw a bunch of the other characters from Mario 2 in like a whole section. And I was like, that's cool. It's more kind of just a cameo part, but I was really excited about that. But in that sequel comic, Wart's the bad guy in there now.
Mm.
She's facing off, which I think is a really neat choice.
Not Donald Trump Koopa.
Yeah, not Donald Trump. Not,
No.
you know, and Dennis Hopper, he always mostly, if he plays like a political character in a movie, he's always like the extreme leftist person.
Yeah.
Like there was that one, like what was it, Swing Vote or whatever, I think it was, where Kelsey Grammer was the Republican and Dennis Hopper was the Democrat guy, and I think Kevin Costner was the one that had to make the decision to who wins. Actually, pretty good movie.
Oh, I would watch that. And
Yeah.
they cast that perfectly, because Kelsey Grammer is, Republican.
Well, yeah, and I think that was the thing too. Is Dennis Hopper is like hardcore because he's Easy Rider and everything like that.
Yeah, counterculture guy.
Yeah, so I
Um,
thought that if yeah, it was a good movie. As I said, yeah, it was all up to Kevin Costner to save the world once
of
again with his
course,
vote this time.
of course, it's up to Kevin Costner to save the world. I love Kevin Costner, but I also hate Kevin Costner. I really do. Um, but yeah, Super Mario Brothers. I mean, it's again, there's not another one like it. There's no
No.
adaptation that took such a bold stance on what the source material was. And sometimes it's a bummer, because it's like, okay, but give me more Mario. You could have had a little bit more Mario in here. But then at the same time, it's like, no, this is our view of what this character is. Um, and overall, for such a shit show surrounding it,
Yeah, the
how it got
making of.
made, who's making it, the studio that's involved. I mean, it's amazing that this one came out as cohesive as it did.
Yeah, because it's one of those ones, like, at the end of the day, I think it's a really enjoyable movie, like, and I never understood the hate towards it. I also kinda just grew up with a lot of friends that really liked this movie too, so
Yeah.
that kinda came later in life. It wasn't until, like, I was in, like, my teens that I heard people didn't like this movie, I was like, "What?" didn't like this movie, you know?
Yeah.
And that's it's like the same when you hear people don't like the Mortal Kombat movie. I'm like, get the hell out of here. You're just sometimes I think some people just say that to sound cool or to sound like, like alternative. But like sometimes I'd hear that like, what? Like, because there's some, there's like ones like Double Dragon, which is kind of a goofy one. Like that movie is it's not terrible, but it's really not that
Yeah.
great. It feels like it should be so much better than it is. And the main thing about it is it's a movie about martial arts, and the martial arts scenes aren't that good in it. Where I think Mario just legitimately delivers. And even on the Mario elements, like I think they translate a lot of stuff in there. Like the Goombas are firing like the fireball cannons, they got like, even King Koopa towards the end, he's in like the little flying cup thing like he is in Super Mario World. In the
Yeah.
behind, there's all the kind of signs and stuff for like Bullet Bill and everything like that. They get the bomb. There's so many little elements in it, which once again, I'm going to refer to a lot of 2000s movies that should not have messed up, but a lot of 2000s movies really like toned everything way down, especially some superhero movies where like, your character was kind of barely even there, and it wasn't like they were adding in anything good anyways. They just like, filtered it down to like the bare bones, like of like a genre, but without, creating a cool world to top it off. Where Mario, like,
Yeah.
even if it might seem a little bit different, like at first glance, it's like they add so much to it that it becomes literally its own neat world. Like if this was just a standalone, like even if you never played the Mario games, you could go into this world and be like, wow, this is actually just a cool, unique place. Like I don't see any other movie out there like it.
Yeah. I understand every thought that people have about this movie. If you hate it and you think it's trash, it doesn't live up to the IP, it doesn't live up to the spirit of Mario to you. And I understand why you hate it. I think your reasons for hating it are very valid, and I would never disagree with anybody. Now, if you say it's a bad movie,
Yeah, see,
then
that's the thing is I
I
hate to
might
sort of say
disagree.
if somebody said it's a bad movie, if honestly, everybody can have their own opinion if they like or hate a movie, but like it's kind of hard for me to take it like, yeah, you can't really say it's a bad movie. The pacing's better than a lot of the movies. It's the uniqueness is out there. Like, you know, I might even
Yeah,
think that if somebody tells me think it's a bad movie, I'm pretty sure their movie tastes are pretty bland. I'm gonna say that.
yeah. I mean, the characters, despite how much the actors hated it, they do a really good job with the characters. And I mean, there are some things about this movie I genuinely don't like. It does the whole thing at the very end. I'm gonna shoot you. I'm gonna shoot you
Yeah.
now. You're gonna get shot. Definitely gonna do it. I have my finger on the trigger. You know, I hate when movies do that. And that one this movie kind of does that. But yeah, it's not a bad movie. It's not. But I understand you hating it though. If you hate it, I just totally get it. But if you love it, I also get that too. I understand that to you, this is what Mario is. This is just what a Mario movie is meant to be. And a lot of people who wanted the new Mario Brothers movies to kind of be a lot more like this.
Yeah. Well, because
Um,
I kid you not, the two new Mario Brothers movies, I've literally only watched them once, and I have no real like care to go back to watch them anytime soon. I feel like
yeah,
they're a little bit hollow and kind of soulless in a sense. They're still interesting, but there's something major kind of missing, I feel, in them. Like there's just like that thing, like you can't put exactly your finger on it because they do a lot right. So that's I'm not going to deny that they do a lot right, but then there's just it's just the overall package. Just and I think I've kind of blamed it on Illumination because I just really not a big fan of that company. I think a lot of their movies are always kind of like those minion. I think it's mainly those minions things that just drives me up the wall. And
yeah.
I see
Oh,
that
fuck
at
yeah.
Universal Studios. I want to like just like, can I just smash this thing right here? Give me a sledgehammer.
Okay, fuck the minions.
The
Okay,
Minions is like one of the
that's the
worst.
universal. Yeah,
I don't know. That's that one, and I know that there's a lot of people out there that just love those characters. That's why they're so overly popular. But they just remind me of like the worst, terrible children just running around in a movie theater that and nobody's doing anything about it. It's like it's just it like almost like stresses me out when I see those Minions trailers. Like
it's cutesy and annoying. It's annoying cutesy on purpose.
yeah,
And so it's good as like a quick little brief joke, but then to turn it into its own like brand.
yeah,
I
and
mean,
just
fuck the
like
minions.
6 or 7 different movies of them. Like Jesus,
Yeah.
just
Oh,
won't go away.
they won't go away. They're just one of those. And I feel like it's the one of those. I call them pajama pants characters.
That makes
Like
sense.
You go to like a Walmart 2 a.m. if they still have them open at 2 a.m. and you see like a girl buying like 4 bags of hot Cheetos and they got like pajama pants on. And there's either Cookie Monster or like Minions.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Pack of cigarettes,
Yeah,
kind of baby hanging out one side.
yeah, yeah. Minions are
Trailer trash,
2 a.m.
like
Walmart.
kids.
Yeah, 2 a.m. Walmart sweatpants for sure.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
100% it.
Stitch is getting there.
Yeah, they're really fucking like selling his
Yeah,
ass out there.
yeah. Where did how did he get that popular?
Yeah, I don't know either. It's just all of a sudden, like, and it's
Yeah.
not any of the other characters in there. They're like, fuck the chick from, True Lies. Um, if you put her on pants, it'd be different.
Well, yeah, I don't get it. I don't get why
No.
that's so popular. But as far as how you feel about the animated movies, see, I guess it's different for me because the first Mario movie they did in terms of the animated ones. Um, my son has watched that. My youngest son, that is his by far favorite thing. I've got the cool Bow. That's his Bowser toy right here. I
Oh,
don't know
that's
if you can see it.
badass.
Yeah, it's the one that
Well, Ryan
touches
told
him.
me the same thing too. He said he's seen that movie about 100 times now because of that.
Yeah.
Oh, it lights up. That's sick.
Oh, it blows smoke. You put water in here and it blows.
Oh,
Yeah, I
see,
should
and
put
that's the one
water
thing
in
I
it.
will say is like the thing about the Illumination ones is the characters look great, the world looks great, everything about it is pretty darn well. It's like the overallness. Like, don't get me wrong, I still like the movie. I still enjoyed it. I just felt like there's just like this something missing that just I just can't put my finger on exactly, but it's just kind of like there's a little bit of an uncanny thing where it's like it's so close, but they still also kind of missed it. Like there's like an interpretation off. And I've almost even kind of summed it up that I still think it should have been made by Japanese people. I think that was the missing ingredient. It should have been a CG, anime style Mario thing. I mean, it has to look anime, but you know what I mean.
Yeah,
Japanese kind of. I think that would have been it because it wouldn't have had that weird American interpretation over the top of it.
yeah. They managed to fit so much though of the games in there, and so much the
Yeah.
world. I think if you're a kid and you love Mario, I don't think you could have made it any better for those people. Like, I just don't think you could have hit it out of the park as much for like kids that are my kids' age.
Well, and I'll
Um,
say that I think that Mario movie, I think, will be for anybody who's around, give or take, age 5 to 10 around this time period. That movie's going to be looked upon like the 1993 Mario Brothers movie for a lot of kids. Where it's like, oh shit, this is my fucking jam. You know what I
oh
mean?
yeah, absolutely.
And I get it, and that's the thing is I get it. It's kind of the way I look at it. It's sort of like sometimes newer Ninja Turtle stuff. I go, it's not my Ninja Turtles necessarily. I'll kind of accept that, and it's always going to be a little bit different. And even though there is still, once again, those Mario movies, there's still a lot of stuff for the old fans in there. Like they definitely give you fan service, but like in kind of like the right ways, left and right, and so on. Um, as I said, it's just that weird thing. There's just like that. It's just maybe it's just that extra bit of depth I think's missing in those ones. And I know some people be like, "Well, what do you mean depth for a Mario thing?" I'm like, "Well,
It doesn't feel dangerous enough sometimes.
yes. I mean, maybe that's kind of it. It's this
I
that
think that's
and
what it is.
I just feel like they could take the story and just go a little bit more, give it a little bit more story. I don't know. Maybe we just came from a time period where it had a little bit more story and not so much, you know, quick flashes and scenes that kind of when you look at the end of the day. Because I'll say that's the thing about the Mario Galaxy movie. The storyline is about the equivalent of like a 22-minute episode.
Yeah,
It's that they extended out to a full movie is literally what it is. Like
yeah,
if that was like on a TV show and you're like as an episode of the Super Mario Bros. New Super Show kind of thing, that thing would be told in one episode. You'd be like, that makes total sense. It's great, everything like that. And this one, it's like they just fit some more stuff in there. And once again, I'm not saying it's still enjoyable, still worth watching, all that kind of stuff there. But I guess the best way I could say it is like the Sonic the Hedgehog movies is the other competition. And even though the Sonic the Hedgehog movies are not complete and perfect and all that stuff, I like those ones way more. And I feel like they just got more of a story kind of going on in them. And I think that's what I can attach to a little bit more.
that's the thing. That's the crux right there. The Sonic movies have more story.
Yeah.
The Mario movies have the benefit of being actually in that world. And
Yeah.
I think that's where the Sonic movies, I would like them better if they were in the Sonic world. Like, you know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
it's so
That's my when I say like my that they're not perfect. That's kind of the thing is that like I want to see them go full Sonic.
yeah,
They're
same.
kind of stuck in this sort of halfway limbo kind of thing. but at the same time, the Sonic movies have like an actual, like, I feel like progressive story in each one, and a lot more kind of heart and like, variables of the drama and all that stuff. Where the Mario's kind of a little bit more simplistic and kind of to the point.
Yeah.
Rosalina gets captured. She's used for a giant space cannon to destroy the universe. Mario and Peach go to save her. Boom, movie's done. Like that's kind of it. Like,
Mm.
it's still good, interesting, but like I feel like you look at the Sonic movies, it's like there's a lot more kind of like adventure going on, I guess, and I
Yeah.
mean that's just what it is.
My oldest likes the Sonic movies a little bit more. He likes the Mario movie a lot too, though, but he likes those a little bit more. I'll tell you why I'm excited for Galaxy is that I don't have to watch the original for a while
Yeah, you take a
because
break from that.
I have seen it so many fucking times. Also, I was working at Alamo when it came out, and that was the worst movie I've ever worked, other than like a Tyler Perry movie. But I ain't
Different story. Well,
very
it was.
different
Here's
story.
the thing. It's like I remember that when you're a kid. I mean, for us, it was kind of a little bit different. Like we watched the same movie a lot because I think one, you only had so many movies at your house. I think that was kind of
Yeah,
the reason. But there is
yeah.
that thing as a kid, you can watch the same movie like every day.
Oh
Like, dude,
yeah.
there was a period where I came home every day from school and watched Spaceballs every day. I watched it religiously. Like came home from school, threw Spaceballs on. That was like how I ended my day. I was like, you know, for like a month straight. So I get it.
I would alternate between Land Before Time and Back to the Future.
Oh
Not
yeah,
like
yeah,
those were my two, and then I got a little older, and it was Independence Day. I would watch all and Men in Black. Those two movies all the
yeah.
time. Fresh Prince during the day. So I was just inundated with Will Smith constantly. Um, that was fun in the '90s. There was a time, kids. There was a time.
You know what? In my book, there's still a time. You know what? I don't care. Will
Yeah.
Smith can slap anybody he wants. I'll still go see his movies.
But the rapping's got to stop. Have you seen his new rap songs?
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. I
He
was really
should stop.
disappointed with the new album. I,
Uh,
I was excited when
uh,
I heard it coming out, but it was the downfall is he does the mistake that a lot of rappers kind of do. They try to fit in with the new kids.
yeah.
That's no, 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 no. You should have doubled down on like it's 1995. You know what I mean? That's what you got to do.
I wanted a hardcore diss track. I want him to unleash on his wife. I want him I want him to like talk shit about Jada. I want to hear him talk shit about Tupac because he's been
Talk shit
chasing
about Chris
Tupac's
Rock.
ghost. Yeah, talk shit about Chris Rock's. Yeah, I slapped that bitch, mother. Yeah, fuck Chris Rock.
Slapped him
Fuck
2 inches shorter.
yeah, fuck Happy Madison. Fuck grown ups too. I want to hear him like really go in, like just be a grizzled old vet at this point. Be the
Yeah.
older guy who doesn't give a fuck anymore. But
Be
he's
like
trying
the
to be
Macho Man, rap album that he makes at like fucking age
yes.
50 years old, and he's out there talking smack.
Yeah. Yeah, I slapped Chris Rock in the face. Yeah, I wanted that. I don't Goofy Will Smith, welcome to Earth, punch alien in the face. That guy's gone. You're not gonna get he's
Yeah.
not no, I just I wanted to hear him cut. It would be like when you watch Bob Saget stand up and just like he's just dirty. I wanted to see Will Smith do that. I wanted him just to go I wanted him to go hard on Tupac like Tupac went hard on Biggie. Um, but no, we got whatever that goofy ass shit he did.
Yeah.
Um,
I was bummed.
yeah, I mean, because I'm bummed because he's never gonna come back.
No.
No, it's done now. What he was like in the grave, but the dirt had been poured on him.
We do get some good Bad Boys movies out of it that I don't think he would have been in if that didn't happen, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because like Bad Boys 3 and 4 are really fucking good.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give it that. I wish, we didn't have to. He would be getting huge roles still, I think.
Yeah.
Um,
But as I
you
said, like
know,
I'm kind of glad because I don't think he would have taken the Bad Boys roles if like he had those other big drama roles.
yeah,
And the drama roles, it's like, okay, once in a while, do the nice drama role, but go back to the action movies. Go, go
yeah,
blow some shit up.
just have you wanted an Oscar so bad.
Yeah.
Why? And you
Yeah. No.
finally get it, and you ruin it right before you get it. Like,
Yeah.
dude, come on.
And
I'm
here's the
just
thing: nobody cares about that movie, anyways. Nobody's gonna care about it, anyways. They're gonna
yeah,
remember fucking Independence Day. They're gonna remember Bad Boys. You know what I
yeah.
mean? Those are the movies
Yeah.
people are going to remember.
Yeah. Nobody watches King Richard.
No, yeah, yeah, I couldn't even remember what the movie was. I didn't even care to see it when it came out. You
Yeah.
know,
It's like, oh, it's about tennis, Serena and Venus's dad.
yeah,
Cool story. I'll read it in a book.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I want to see
Remember,
him
I got
punch.
that when those girls were playing. I got that question wrong because it was on a test once in history, and I was like, I didn't know. I was like, I didn't know who they were. I was like I don't watch like tennis. Like, how the hell am I supposed to know who these people are? Why are they on my history test?
Why were they on your history test?
Yeah, which I just made up names because I can't remember what it was, but that was like what it was. It was like, oh, I think it was like a whatever you call it, like topical events type thing. Like
Mm.
one of those history teachers that wanted you to watch the news or something.
Yeah. Fuck that shit.
It was like, yeah,
That used to bother me too. I used to always, I actually liked watching the news back in the day.
yeah. Well, when I
And
was a kid, I just watched TV.
yeah,
It was one of those ones. It didn't really matter what was on TV. I just watched TV.
they always were trying to force the news on me. I'm like, no, I'll watch the news when I'm interested in the news. But then 9/11 happens at school. They wouldn't let me watch the news. Like, pay attention to, you think I'm going to remember this in 30 fucking years? No, I'm going to remember what's on the screen right now. So let me go home. But anyway, Super Mario Brothers 1993. Kids, it did happen. It is somewhat of a fever dream. It is a bizarre take. It is a bold take. Again, one of one. There is
Yep.
no other adaptation that can say they live up to this one, whether good or bad. Whether
Yeah.
you think that's a good thing or a bad thing, it is still very unique. So, if you've never seen it, good luck finding it because it's actually a bitch to find. It's
Yeah.
actually really,
Good
really
luck
hard.
because if you want that Blu-ray set that I have, I saw it pop up on eBay for $700 now. So
Yeah. Yeah.
you
It's,
know, I still
yeah.
want the Laserdisc for my collection. That's the only one I'm missing that I don't have, and it's like
Mm,
75 to like 100 and something dollars. And I'm like,
damn.
one of these days I want it because I got the DVD, I got the Spanish Blu-ray because they didn't put American Blu-ray out. I got this 4K one, but I don't have the Laserdisc.
Mm.
If there's a Betamax one, I might even get that, but I don't know.
Yeah, I doubt that. Betamax is kind of tapered out by
Yeah, I'd
then.
say, yeah, it probably petered out by about that point. You got to kind of get them in the 80s.
Yeah. Um, yeah. It's one of those things in my childhood that just doesn't feel real. I forgot about it for years. I had
But
forgotten
that's
this
how a lot of
movie.
people were. I
Yeah.
know Ryan was the same way too, and I remember he kind of had like the negative views of it. And there was like one day I was like, there's a couple people over the house. I'm like, you got Super Mario Bros. On DVD? Let's throw this on. And then it was like his first time watching it in a long time, and it kind of like changed his like thing. He's like, oh shit, I kind of forgot how good this movie actually was. I think because that's the thing. I think a lot of people listen to like the hate speech on this movie, and they don't actually watch the movie and kind of go, no, it's actually a legitimately good movie. I'm not gonna say
Hmm.
it's everybody's cup of tea, but like there's something really going on here. As I said, it's not like Double Dragon, where Double Dragon's kind of an easy one to be like, yeah, he's a kind of a punching bag, you know. I mean, it's one of those ones where in the original era of video game movies, I think it's one of the pinnacle ones. I think Mortal Kombat's definitely the highlight of them all for as how well it's made. But
Hmm.
Mario Brothers is right there with it, though, not that far behind.
You have to applaud it taking chances. You have to applaud it being original
Yeah,
and
and
not
being the
just
first game or the first video game movie out the door.
yeah. Yeah. It crawled so others can, crawl a little bit better.
Yeah. We literally have this brand new era coming out, which I think the next big era of cinema is actually going to be video game movies. I
Yeah.
think legitimately I think comic book movies are actually going to kind of go on the back burner. They'll still be there, of course, but they'll be the back burner. And video game movies with Mortal Kombat 2 and Mario Brothers and Sonic the Hedgehog and whatever the hell else they decide to throw out there. I mean, even the TV shows, the Fallout and so on. I think that's kind of that's going to be the new big one.
Yeah. I hope they fix Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, that one they kind of screwed the pooch on that one. See, that's like
Big
the kind of
time.
era where it's like that one, Prince of Persia, they kind of screwed the pooch.
Well, yeah.
Um, yeah,
They deserve to on that one.
there's a few of them where it's just like they just like I felt like they didn't get they didn't understand like what made those games work, kind of. So
Yeah.
where I feel like these older ones, like even Tomb Raider and all that stuff, even like Resident Evil, even though Resident Evil is doing something different and on its own and really unique. I mean, it still was a fun movie at the end of the day. It's, it kind of
Yeah.
strays from the, core Resident Evil, spirit, but, it's there.
Yeah. This one you have to applaud it. It was a pioneer, groundbreaking, and bold. I had a very unique vision. So there you go. You've done it again. Another Super Mario Brothers podcast.
Yep. I know I'll do some more as the time goes on. Why not?
There you go. There you
I can
go.
always watch this one over.
Yeah. Well, again, if you've never seen Super Mario Brothers 1993, go try to find it somewhere. There's the Internet Archive stuff, but that's different cuts,
Yeah. You
added
can always buy
footage.
it on DVD for like $5.
Yeah,
It's not the
that's
greatest copy, but
yeah,
it does exist that way on Amazon.
yeah. And Nintendo's tried to bury this, especially since the newer movies have come out. They've even tried more to bury it.
Yeah, which is
I've
stupid. I think
noticed.
they should just own up to it. It's kind of like when they released that Virtual Boy thing that I got sitting back here. Like I thought they were trying to bury that forever, and then they owned up to it like hardcore. That's what they need to do with this movie is just be like, yeah, it's part of our
Yeah,
legacy. You know what
I
I mean?
still think I would love it if the third Mario movie would just say, "Let's do a Cyber Mario and let's do this world," and
Yeah,
I would love it. I would absolutely love it.
even if it was one of those ones where kind of like in the Flash movie, even though that movie was just kind of okay, but like the part where like you do actually see Nicolas Cage Superman for a bit, like it's kind of
Yeah.
like they finally owned up to that. Like fuck yeah, there it is. You
Man,
know,
I to wild take on my part. I don't like those DC movies at all. Didn't like Aquaman, didn't like
you didn't like
Superman.
Aquaman? The Aquaman ones
No,
I thought were really good. Those are like my
no.
favorites of those.
Didn't like those. Didn't like Superman versus Batman. Didn't like Man of Steel. Wonder Woman was pretty good. I
See,
liked
that's the one I
Wonder
found
Woman.
this kind of okay was Wonder Woman.
Yeah. But my favorite was the Flash movie. And the flaw,
Really?
oh yeah, the flaws are very, very flawed. And so was the person playing the Flash.
Yeah,
But
weird choice. Not
it
the worst,
was
but he's more of just a weird choice. I think he does a good job, but he's just a weird choice.
he's a weird choice, but man, I gotta tell you, I love how they just said, you know what? Let's let's buy into the absurdity of this and just let's roll with it. And man, I actually really like that Flash movie. I really did. I mean, it's messy. It's really messy, but I liked it.
Yeah. I haven't
It's a
seen it
weird
since the
one.
theater. I said I enjoyed it enough at what it was, but
Yeah.
for the most part, I mostly like the DCs more than I like the Marvels. Just I feel like I'm just DC biased, but
Yeah. I get that totally, but yeah, watch Super Mario Brothers. If you of course if you like this, if you listen to, like, we're like an hour and 30 some minutes now. If you listen to this whole episode, please like, subscribe, follow us on iTunes, Spotify, leave a good review. We're trying to get back to the world of podcasting a little bit more. I'm trying to push this back into the podcasting realm a little bit, and definitely focusing most on YouTube, but I definitely want to, pay attention to the podcast element of, a podcast. So, um, definitely go find us and like us there. Of course, Spencer, everything. What's give you your own little
pretty much
shout
I'm
out?
just pretty much YouTube at Old Man Orange Podcast. That's where
Yeah.
you'll find generally all my stuff, or Spotify. Old Man Orange Podcast on Spotify or YouTube. That's the only places I hang out anymore.
Yeah, same. Same. We'll be hanging around social media again. You can follow us on TikTok. You can find us on what's the other ones? Instagram, Facebook. Please go follow us there. I really appreciate helping build those communities as well. So again, every week, join us. We'll be back in the video store. We'll be dusting off another VHS to go back and watch and give our opinions on. And we'd love it if you joined us every week. So anyway, any last thoughts before we get out of here?
I think that's it. As I said, Mario Brothers, top 10 favorite movies of all
Wow,
time.
that's really,
And
really
that is
big.
not ironic. That is
Damn.
truthful.
Damn. Well, all right. Well, thank y'all for listening. Y'all have a good one. And Via VHS is out.